Who wants to have some fun? I do. I like having fun, especially when I'm learning. Let's simulate a GLBP failure. On R4, let's take down the link connected up to R3 for the 10.143.0/24 network. So gigabit 0/0. Let's go over to R4. Type in show GLBP. We'll see here that we are currently the AVG for group 43. We are currently forwarder number 2. So I'm predicting that when we shut down gigabit 0/0, R3 becomes the AVG for group 43, and it becomes the forwarder for both AVF1 and AVF2. So both of the MAC addresses now. Let's do it. Interface gigabit 0/0. Shut down. Let's go over to R3. Let's watch some syslog messages come in here. Fingers are crossed that it works. Should work. I don't see syslog messages. There we go. Perfect. So what's going on here? We can now see that for forwarder 2, so AVF2, we went from listening to active. So we are now the active forwarder, the active virtual forwarder for that MAC address that ends in 02. We are also now the AVG. We went from standby to active as the AVG. Oh, we also had a problem with EIGRP. We no longer have our neighborship across that link either. So if we look at the output of show GLBP, what do we have? We have R3 as the active forwarder. If we go down just a little further, we can see that for AVF1, we are active. For the MAC address of AVF2, we are active as well. So we successfully failed over and ensure that all clients within the 10.143.0 network can still continue to access the resources they need out through R3. Now R4 does have preemption enabled. Let's examine that just to make sure. For the AVG process, yes. Remember, it's disabled by default for the AVG process. We did enable it manually. And for the AVF process, it's automatically enabled. So there's a difference there. You always want to remember that difference. For the AVG process, preemption is disabled by default. For the AVF process, it's enabled by default. Let's re-enable that interface. No shut. And I'm predicting that R4 takes over for as the forwarder for the MAC address associated with AVF1, and it becomes the AVG. Let's give it a chance here. So for the GLBP process, we are the AVG. We went from the speak state to the active state, and I'm just waiting on that syslog message now for the AVF role. So AVF2, we want to go forwarding for that as well. It's taking a little longer here for that process to take effect, and there we go. Success. For AVF2's MAC address, we went from the listening state to the active state. And the same thing would be true if R3's interface went down. If that interface goes down, then R4 will promote itself from the active state, from the listen state for AVF1's MAC address to the active state.